Good morning. How are you? Man, miss you all. Happy Halloween. Kinda, I guess. It's that time of year. It's happening. We are in the spooky season. And we're excited. We're going to do a little Halloween party at our house with our family. Not doing trick-or-treating, which is a bummer. I don't know what everybody's plan is. We're just going to try and do a fun little things with games around with the kids. Getting dressed. I have my costume. I'm going as Bad Tunya. I'm assuming that means a lot to all of you. My Bad Tunya is a family friend. My youngest daughter, Ruthie, when she was like 3 years old, 2.5, 3 or so, she had an invisible, or what do they call it? Invisible friend? No? What's the word? There's no one here to help me. Imaginary friend. Oh my gosh. Can I cut that out? An imaginary friend when she was like 2.5 or 3, and her name was Tunya. I don't know where she got this from, but Tunya was her friend, and she'd be in her room, be playing and talking, and we would go in there once in a while and be like, "Who are you talking to?" And she says, "Oh, Tunya." And then a little while later, like mischievous things would happen, and we'd hear this kind of laugh coming from Ruthie. And we would go, "Ruthie, what is that?" And she said, "Oh, that's Bad Tunya." And so there was Tunya, and then there was Bad Tunya. And Bad Tunya was, mischievous and ornery. And she laughed like a evil witch. And I remember it was many months later, Tunya and Bad Tunya had made a few little appearances here and there in the house, but it had been a while, and we went to the Pittock Mansion. If you guys have ever gone to the Pittock Mansion, we did the tour, and it's amazing. It's beautiful. In each room, they have it kind of set up, and one of the rooms they had was a kid's room, or several of the rooms were kids' rooms, and this one had like cradle and, like some toys and different things like that, and some dolls. And we're looking at the room, and then Ruthie, just out of nowhere, just goes, "Oh, that's Bad Tunya." And then just kind of walks out, and we were like, what? And we're like, which? And she pointed, she was like, "Yeah, that's Bad Tunya." And I need you to understand. Okay, I took a picture of it. So I just want you to know, this is the image of my 2.5-year-old daughter's imaginary friend. Fear, right? That was this? I still don't know how to process exactly what that was, but fear is what I felt. And it feels apropos to this moment, to this season. What a day, man. What a day. I walked up here this morning just a few minutes ago to record this, and I came to discover that the large commercial canopy and tent that we had installed and set up this last week, shout out to Jen Schramm, who popped in to help us out. Someone had tried to steal it last night, and they literally cut all of our lighting. They stole the front of the tent off. I'm assuming they were trying to take the whole thing, but we had, anchored it and installed it in the ground. But oh my gosh. I walked up so angry, so mad. There is an energy in the air right now, and it's something I've talked about for a few times, I know, but it is the energy kind of embodied in the phrase, if you're not angry, you're not paying attention. Have you caught that in the culture recently? Like, there is so much happening that's bad in this world, so much to be upset about, so much to be indignant and offended by, that if you're not angry, then you're just not paying attention, man. Like, it feels palpable to me. There is a constant looking around, kind of, like, to where is the enemy? Who am I against? Who are we rooting against? And it's interesting to me because I think during the lockdown, Cynthia and I have been trying to work on our marriage, I guess, right? We're always trying to work on our marriage. But this is the time it's like, man, this is all I got you. I hope you like me still. We're trying to talk more and trying to connect more. Communication is really important, we have found, after the first 17 years of marriage. Those are a breeze. Now we really need to start figuring out how to connect. But one of the things that I've really discovered about myself is that when we fight, when we argue about something, there's a few things that always seem to always kind of go around and around arguing about. It's usually stuff around the house, things that we need to fix, things that we need to improve, things that I need to be working on, or different things. And every time she brings it up, I get so angry. I get so defensive and argumentative, like, no, it's fine. What does that mean? Why do we need to fix that? What does that mean? What's wrong with that? That's okay. We've been dealing with this for 12 years. Who cares? Like, I get really angry and really defensive for some reason. And in the last year, one of the things that I've discovered about myself is that the flip side of my anger is always insecurity. It's always my fears. I don't like her bringing up what I need to fix around the house because somewhere in myself, I have associated something about this with my identity as like a man. She's questioning like my masculinity, I think, for some stupid reason. And I get angry. And that's the external element. But internally, what's rooted in this is fear. Fear that she doesn't think I'm a good enough provider. Fear that she doesn't think I'm a good enough partner or a good enough man. And I know, and it's stupid, and I have no idea what one thing has to do with the other. But in reflection, I know that my anger is rooted in my fears, in those deep insecurities. And I think this is true for all of us. When we're angry, it's almost always just the expression of our fears. It's the flip side of that. We only have a few really socially acceptable emotions anymore, right? And anger is at the top of that list. That's okay. We're fine with that. You can walk around angry at all sorts of stuff. And you can walk around with literally a protest sign right now, and we're like, that's fine. You could just have that on you at all times. That anger is totally acceptable. But if you go around sharing your deepest fears and insecurities, we make medication for that. You know? It's not that acceptable. We don't like that. That's not how we're supposed to be. So we convert it into anger in this external way, but deep down our culture seems to be gripped in fear. Fear that evil will trample good. Fear that justice is just like a lie. Fear that my group isn't going to get a fair shot. Fear that the virus will win. Fear that my kids will fill in the blank. Fear.
The breeze and the bits are everywhere. Chirping to me about the paradise. Through barbed wires I thought I heard. Bubbles fizzing and clattering rainbows flashing, playing.
Thank you to Scott Baker again for these videos. Lord, how many are my foes? How many rise up against me? Many are saying of me, God will not deliver him. But you, Lord, are a shield around me, my glory, the one who lifts my head. I call out to the Lord, and he answers me from his holy mountain. I lie down and sleep. I wake again because the Lord sustains me. I will not fear, though tens of thousands assail me on every side. Arise, Lord, deliver me, my God. Strike all my enemies on the jaw. Break the teeth of the wicked. May the Lord From the Lord comes deliverance. May your blessing be on your people. I love the Psalms of David. I love their honesty, right? If you really read the Psalms, it's almost too honest at times for our kind of culture. Look at verse 7. It says, break the teeth of my enemies. I mean, most Portlanders would be like, well, now, David, let's not be so angry, right? I mean, the Psalms are raw. They are angry. It's just all over the place. And the emotions are raw and intense and real. Why? Because the Psalms give us, I believe, a unique approach to our emotions, to what we're feeling actually inside. It's a third kind of way. The religious approach to emotions is to stuff them down, to deny them, act like they're not there, get control over them. And one of the ways that we get control over our emotions in religious circles is just to pretend like they're not there. Oh, I'm fine. How are you? Yeah, no, I'm fine. How are you? How you doing? Yeah? Oh, good, right? And the secular approach is a love to just express our emotions as if it's a good in itself. Well, that's just how I feel, right? The Psalms don't do either. The Psalms don't say that we should be unaware of our emotions or be over-aware of our emotions, overawed by them. We shouldn't be stuffing them down or bowing to them, but the Psalms show us that we should be praying them, that we are to be processing them and not putting them in this kind of nice little, kind of proper little prayers, but pre-reflective outbursts to God. Pre-reflectively just sharing, pouring them out in the presence of God and processing them right there. It's an awareness of a God who knows what we're feeling, so there's no shame. There's no shame in it, but it's a God who is taking us somewhere, not letting us just stew and sit in what we're feeling. So we process them in prayer. And what we're talking about today is, I believe, like one of the most primal of all human emotions. And I might be wrong about that, but I've witnessed the first breaths of two human beings, my two daughters, when they were born. Their first breaths were not like, it's so early. You want to get some coffee or something? Right? It wasn't like screams of like, I don't really know about this. I don't know. This seems a little like, is this my dad? Why is everybody else clothed? I'm the only one naked. It's not screams of like disappointment or anything. The babies are too simple for that. This is a scream of absolute fear, right? It is the first sound that we all make, a wail of fear. It is like so primary to who we are. Where are the walls? Why is it so cold now? What's going on? Fear is maybe the most primal thing that we have as an emotion, and fear really has a couple levels to it, I believe. There's two levels to fear. We actually see them represented in the first two verses of the psalm. David says, Lord, how many are my foes? How many rise up against me? Many are saying of me, God will not deliver him. So first we see that there's a literal army trying to get him. There's a coup taking place in the kingdom and they're after him. So there's a very literal threat to his safety. That's the first level of fear. But in verse 2, we see something different. It says, many are saying of me, God will not deliver him. Now, this is a deeper fear. This is something so much deeper. One is a direct attack, a very specific thing to be afraid of, namely for him, an army, or for us, a virus. There is something right now, a literal thing that we can or maybe should be afraid of because it's specific. But the other is now something deeper. It's that nagging fear, that sinking deep fear, the belief that God will not deliver us. And for the king to say that, this is really a fear of his own identity. If God doesn't deliver the king, then I'm not the king. That's what David is saying here. And this is where his fear takes him, deeper than just the moment, than just the specific. Fear is specific. Anxiety is diffuse. And we are so anxious in our culture, right? It's a sort of amorphous, undefined, you don't even know what exactly is causing it. With fear, you know. He's falling, right? I'm sick, But with anxiety, you don't know what exactly is wrong. And the second, fear motivates us to action. Move, run, get out of the way, right? Fear motivates you to action, but anxiety paralyzes you from movement. It causes us to stop moving at all and to question everything. This is exactly what David is worried about. It's a threat to his identity, to his sense of self. And anxiety comes in when something that you have put your real security on, something that made you feel comfortable or in control, something that made you say, I have an identity, and now that is being threatened. And that kind of fear, that kind of anxiety can paralyze you. And I'm going to tell you what, this is exactly what I am feeling right now. I feel paralyzed. I feel stuck. And the thing, I like having things to be afraid of, to do, to fix. I like fixing things, I like working on things, like getting it and do. But there is this feeling right now where you're out of control, because that's really what fear is. It's being out of control, right? If I can control something, if I can fix something, I can put up a tent, boom, and then all of a sudden, my enemy, apparently, destroys it, and you just feel stuck. Feel paralyzed in movement. Because it's not specific anymore, it's diffuse. And that's where David is. He's sunk all the way down. Maybe even God is against me. And then we get his next line. But you, O Lord, are a shield around me, my glory, the one who lifts my head. When we're lost in our anxiety, it's often because we've put our glory in something temporal, something fragile. This building, this whole thing that we've created here, it's so fragile. And it's out of our control. It's never been in our control, but it's so hard at times when you see that, when you feel it, when it's real. When we put your glory in things like that, David reminds us today that God, you are my glory. He says the word but, and he only would say that if he had put something else before him. He's reminding himself here. He's experiencing that second level of fear because the thing that he had built his identity on, the thing that he had built his emotional, psychological security on had been taken away. And what are those things for David? Maybe it was, I'm the king. Well, not now. Maybe it was, I'm a good, caring leader. Well, not anymore. Maybe it was, I'm a good father, a moral person, a person in power. None of that. It's all been taken away from him. And now he's saying, I used to put my glory in those things. And what that word means is significance. What that word means is weight. The reason I feel good about my life. We all have this, right? We all have this. We've put our glory somewhere. Every single one of us. And David reminds us that even if you put your glory, your significance in something good, right? Even if you put it in something good, if you put it there, you will inevitably experience anxiety and fear and lostness. You will. It is a good thing to be talented. It is a good thing to have a great spouse and great kids and have a great job and be a hard worker and be successful. It's a good thing to do all of those. But if your glory is in them, what you have done is you've put your worth, your security in something so finite, something so fragile, and you will experience that anxiety. You will be left totally vulnerable in this broken world. And so David says, acknowledge where your glory is. Remember it right now. That we are his sons and daughters, that God is proud of each and every one of us. Period. End of sentence. Doesn't matter what you have done, doesn't matter what you're doing right now, God is with you. He says that he is the lifter of our heads. The lifter of our heads. What does that mean? When we lift our head, what is it? It's a symbol of I'm proud. My head raised high, I am proud. But a lifter of our head, that's someone who's proud of you. That is someone who's proud of you. That is a God. That is who we are. That is who you are. You are a child of God that he is proud of. That he's proud of. And that acknowledgement, that's what casts out fear. That perfect love. That's what tramples this anxiety in this moment. And that's what raises us back up, because he is the lifter of our head. This week, Morgan is sharing a song. We recorded this with her last month, and in the last week or so, Morgan has tested positive for COVID. And she's been in isolation and in quarantine in her basement for like a week. I can't even imagine. She's a lot like me. I would be going crazy. And the fear, the anxiety, right? The song that she's sharing with us this morning, I asked her a little bit about it before we sang it. Is there a line to you that sticks out that you'd say, this, when fear comes in, this is something I can use as a sword, as a shield that says no?
I think it's when you say I am held when I am falling short. It actually lines up exactly with, I've worked really hard to recognize a lot of my anxieties and counter them with the truths, and that's actually one of them, is that I'm comforted and I'm held and I'm loved and it's okay. So that one sticks a lot with me. Sorry. Worship is so awkward when you just watch people on a screen.
Right.
Recognizing that this song specifically is a reflective song. To just sit and, I don't know, take it in, because these are the truths that are being said to us.
That's it. Yeah. It's about listening and reflecting on God's words, about what he says about us.
Yeah.
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that you have every victory. Ooh, oh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short, and when I don't belong, oh, you say I'm yours. Oh, I believe, yes, I believe what you say of me. I believe, and I believe, yes, I believe what you say of me. I
This morning, I want to invite us to pray. To pray out our fears, to pray out our anxieties, to pray through our anger, and to let God know what He already knows, but allows us to process with Him in prayer as He lifts our heads. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Jesus, give us that encouragement, that strength, and that true courage that's not naive, but is illuminated with absolute truth. That you are our glory and you lift our heads. Thank you, Jesus. Amen. Amen. I love you guys. Let's sing our benediction song together.
May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up His countenance upon you and give you His peace. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make His face shine